Ghosts, Bigfoot, and little green men. Tales of paranormal phenomena have captivated mankind throughout history. Some believe these to be nothing more than myths, misunderstandings, or the mind playing tricks, while others remain thoroughly convinced of their reality. Do you know what mysteries lie within the rich wilderness, the charming communities, and the starry skies of the Pacific Northwest? The answers, you may be surprised to find, are not too far from home. Today we're here at Darkwing Manor, a historical home, museum, and hotspot for paranormal activity here in the Rogue Valley. Like many historical homes, it's seen its fair share of residents come and go, but unlike many of those homes, many believe that those residents never left.
My name's Tina Rusat, and my husband Tim and I have lived here at Darkwing Manor for about 10 years. I've had some unusual things happen to me that I can't explain. This house is the George Hover house. It was built in 1908. George was an orchardist in the valley and had quite a few children. The story goes that they lived in a log cabin down in what's now the vineyards, and he did so well that he was able to build this mansion. Unfortunately, there was a 2 or 3 year drought.
With the land drying up around them, the Hoover family was driven to bankruptcy, forcing them to leave the home they had come to love behind. Though it seems tragedy remained, passing on to the home's next residents, the Canfields.
Mrs. Canfield had one child. Her name was Elizabeth. Fortunately, Elizabeth developed what they're describing as a telescoping bowel, and she passed away. Mrs. Canfield was so devastated that she closed up Elizabeth's bedroom and Elizabeth's playroom and kept it as a shrine to her until the day she died and the house was sold to someone else.
Following the nausea, vomiting, and rectal bleeding that often accompanies a telescoping bowel, the manor continued its tradition of hardship and loss until it was purchased by the Rusats, where they have remained for nearly a decade. However, the manor was unable to leave its past behind as Tina was contacted by Sarah Werner, the director of Southern Oregon's branch of the International Paranormal Reporting Group.
We've had a lot of different paranormal experiences here. Our first investigation, we captured EVPs. Since then, we've had a lot of personal experiences. Everything from seeing apparitions to being touched to having the doors rattle to hearing footsteps. The hot spots that we've experienced paranormal activity, there's 3 that we like to concentrate on when we are investigating. One is the toy room upstairs, one is the parlor, and one is, of course, the morning museum. As in the morning museum, not only do you have the history of the house, but you have the history of all these artifacts that represent sadness and loss, and there can be entities that are attached to those as well. In the morning museum, we've had a lot of personal experiences. There was an investigator sitting in the chair, and the chair got kicked. There was nobody around her, but it was loud enough that everybody in the room was startled.
Holy shit.
What was that?
That was my chair. No, it felt like someone kicked it or something. That was scary.
Felt that through the floor.
Yeah. You
Okay.
did shift your
I did not
weight.
move.
Just last week when we were investigating, the door was shut and the door was rattling and there was nobody walking around upstairs. The heater was off. I opened the door to see if there was anybody trying to get in the door. There was nobody there. I asked the team upstairs if they were moving around. There was nobody moving around. I shut the door and it started rattling again. So I opened the door and double checked everything, and again there was nothing there. Shut the door and it happened again.
Keena's interest in the paranormal, along with her love of history, has led to the impressive collection of historical artifacts seen on display in Darkwing Manor. But do such treasures really carry their past with them?
This is my mourning and funerary collection. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the way that people handled their dead was very different from the way we do now. They didn't have funeral parlors and funeral directors and mortuaries and that sort of thing. When a person died, they were brought home. They were washed and dressed and laid out in a casket. Medicine being what it was in those days, they weren't always really sure that a person was dead. Child mortality at the time was, of course, very high. Children died from, a lot of different things that we have cures for now. And it was also a common practice when a child died to bring a photographer into the home or bring the deceased child to the studio and take their portrait. And this may be the only likeness they would ever have of this beloved lost child. Sometimes they would attempt to pose the child as if they were still living to make them look more lifelike. There's varieties of different types of post-mortem photography that shows children and adults with, eyes painted in, open to make them look like they're alive, and it gets a little weird. You start studying that a little bit too much.
Dead babies aside, paranormal investigators at Darkwing Manor believe more residents may be reaching out from the grave.
In the toy room, we have had investigators get touched. We've captured EVPs of an older lady. A guest asked, "Do you want to leave?" And there was a woman's voice that said no.
Do you want to leave?
Based on the evidence that we've gathered, I believe at one point we've been interacting with Elizabeth, the little girl that died here, and at one point we've been interacting with Mrs. Caldwell. However, we don't have proof to back that up. One thing to remember about entities is, for the most part, they're not here to hurt you. They're people that used to be people. And a lot of times they just want you to know that they're here.
I can't say I've ever seen a white mist coming down the stairs or anything like that, but I would love to see something like that. It would help me to realize that there's something beyond death, and that's real important to me, but so far I'm not convinced.
What truths lie behind the walls of Darkwing Manor? While the mysteries of paranormal phenomena may never be laid to rest, it won't stop people from searching. And it certainly won't stop others from experiencing their own Oregon horror story.